Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is still Thursday, August 26, 2021. If you're keeping up, this is the 7th video today on this channel. And they've all been focused on what is the propaganda coming out of Afghanistan. And this attack at the Kabul airport, believed to be the work of ISIS-K, a new offshoot of ISIS, which was an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, which was blamed for 9/11, and we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary, and on April 14th this year, Joe Biden gave the speech that we'd have all troops out by September 11th, 2021. So now today in the news, you got this debate. You know, if you watch CNN, you got guests with radically different opinions all day long. You know, some that say we need to hunker back down, some saying we definitely need to get out. You know, Fox News, it's all about how the Democrats are weak on defense, another huge military blunder by the libs. And again, the reality is this is all part of a planned agenda being executed daily, truly by a code in the most ritualistic of fashion with the most repetitive of numbers. And again, how people don't clue into these things is beyond me, because I just felt like I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened, and I thought everybody had to be under hypnosis to not be questioning what we were being told about that day. To me, everything seemed like an obvious lie. Plus, the question and the elephant in the room was, why isn't anyone addressing that we're having a national emergency on 911? This seems beyond coincidence. It's unique circumstances with the president being the son of the last Republican president. He just took office. Now they're already ready to go to war in Iraq and the Middle East right away, just where his dad was at war when he was there. I mean, I was 18, you know. I was only 17 when the election happened. I wasn't even old enough to vote in 2000. I was born in 83. But, you know, I was 18 when 9/11 happened. I've been 18 for a month and a half or so. It was in my, I believe it was the start of what was it? I think it was the start of the second week of college. Tuesday. I think it was the second Tuesday. Had Miss Applebloom's class, math class. That's where I was supposed to go. But, yeah, anyway, it's just like, it was just so obvious. I mean, the way they came down, the story, just so many things people should be questioning, but nobody was questioning anything. And from that day on, it's been apparent to me that there's definitely something to numbers in the way news is reported and the redundant use of certain numbers. A lot of people see 33 all the time, 47 all the time, 13 all the time. And with regards to today, August 26th, them saying this propaganda is coming out of Kabul, or, you know, they're not saying propaganda. They're reporting that at the Kabul airport, there was a terrorist attack by, you know, ISIS-K, right? And now they're saying at least 13 U.S. service military members died. And how do military members get sent back to the United States when they die overseas? They come back in a casket with the flag wrapped around it, right? The flag with the 13 stripes that are in tribute to the 13 foundational colonies. How many people think about you learn to pledge allegiance to the flag at state school, where you're told you're so free, but if you miss 5 days during the year, you know, it could be big trouble for your parents, all the summer in school for you, you know, more jail time, really. And we all knew that, right? The vehicle that would drop off the food at the school, its next stop was the state penitentiary. That's the same stuff they feed the children. The same stuff they feed the people in prison and jail. And if you've ever been to jail, you know the food's not that good. You know, you get your little white tray, might have a little sheet over it, if you're lucky. And then the green beans are all brown, but you're hungry. So, yeah, and you don't even want to talk about the rest of the stuff that's in that little thing. But, yeah, you guys. I mean, we've been in the cell since we were children, man. We've been in the cell since we were children. That's what the classroom was. Your 13 years of slave school, learning how to be a good, useful idiot. You know, no common sense, but good at following directions. For the sake of, you learn that if you don't follow directions of the authority, there can be big consequences, and those are no fun. And it's better to just avoid those things. So, follow instructions. And, you know, One of the instructions that's learned in school from a lot of people is do not question the authority. People do not like to be questioned. And it's not just school, too. I mean, this can happen at your church. I got kicked out of confirmation class as a 12-year-old for asking too many questions. They thought I was ruining the lesson by asking the questions I was about the material we were being told. A lot of this stuff didn't make any sense to me. Why should I believe in that? My mom always says to me, you're going to believe because everyone in this family believes. And to me, maybe it does say in the Bible, to follow your elders and stuff. But again, I don't know that God really wrote that shit down, especially when it seems like a lot of the adults in my life, some of them I can tell they mean well, but I can tell they're not always right. And they're not making sense. I got a mind of my own. God gave it to me, And so did my mom and dad. But, again, in my belief system, the only thing I don't like to use the word believe, but when it comes to God, you do have to believe for the most part. Because, there are things that happen in our life that seem like evidence. But sometimes you share those stories and they don't resonate as well with somebody else or somebody else as well. How do I know that's true? That's not my own story. So it's like God is something really that you have to experience for yourself. And some people might think that God's not out there because so much shit's been dealt in their life. And, God never answered their prayers. And I understand that too. And I'm not saying they're wrong. But sometimes I think maybe that person just hasn't lived long enough yet to see actually what God's plan was for them. God does. I do believe that God works in mysterious ways. And maybe, again, it seems like most good things in this world come through suffering. Maybe some people really have to suffer because somehow God knows that person is tough enough to handle it. And it's going to get them to this ultimate thing that's better for humanity. And again, somebody will listen to that and be like, well, see, that's just like justifying a bunch of bullshit to justify God. Again, I'm not going to have that debate because it's a belief. So in terms of the arguments I can make about what's going on in this world, God's not my best one. But I've just had so many things happen in my life that to me is this, it's not a coincidence. It's like, okay, God heard what I was thinking about, what's been weighing on my mind, and then shows me this example like this. Well, okay. It's clear for me now what I was wavering between before. Obviously, it's this way. Like that. Those are the types of things that happen that make me think like, yeah, this is how God works. This is God's creation He made for us. This is how it works. And again, for all the things that, like, I don't know why people need to have such a. Anyway, I'm not going to go down this whole path because I'm short on time. I just want to recap everything that happened today. But I have been going hard on religion. I do not like religion at all. I think religion is the total plague of the world, but I'm not against spirituality. I'm just so sick of religious people and their willful ignorance and their holier-than-thou attitude. It's just, they're annoying. They're so annoying. And again, they're like they're part of the weight dragging humanity to the bottom, these religious types. Because they think they know things that they don't know. That's a big part of the problem with religion. It makes people think they know things. That's why the whole flat earth movement's a religion. That they might have some good questions and some good observations, but they totally ignore things that go very hard against their position. They just act like those don't matter because they're not in their belief system. And it's like, okay, you're ignoring some things that are pretty evidence-based in this place that we call Earth, this world we live in, to justify your flat Earth thing. But I do appreciate that flat Earthers question things. I see science snobs make videos that make fun of flat Earthers in a different way than I do. Make fun of them like they're idiots for questioning anything. And then they'll make some stupid-ass statement moments later in their arrogance, getting back into their main topic about health and how, like, idiots think ginger can have any positive influence on your health. They're like, and see that because there's nothing in the ginger structure that really helps out with any of these things that fight illness. And the way they understand it through Western medicine, it's like, shut the fuck up, asshole. A lot of people eat ginger and stay healthy. You're looking at one of them. So don't be blabbing off into your video about how smart you are and you got 10 million views and people who think ginger has anything to do with health are morons. Again, I'm going off on rants here, but I want people to understand who I am. I do not like religion. I don't like Christianity. It's the predominant religion here, and I've seen it as a huge problem my whole life in a million different ways, including the people who always leave comments like, Zach, all this works for naught because all we can do is believe and wait for Jesus our Savior. This type of shit. Get the fuck out of here, man. That's exactly what they programmed into you to keep you on your knees, not doing shit while these people rule over you and mock you with the Bible that you believe in, that you think is the Word of God, not edited and translated by this Jesuit gang and numbered accordingly. And again, 13, big biblical number. What's going on in Afghanistan, as always, has everything to do with the Catholic Church and the history of the Knights Templar and the Jesuits. You know, Jesus and the 12 disciples, 13 a number of time because the moon in its 13 solar cycles. The moon is Mary. The Catholic Church venerates Mary. You know, 13 all over the U.S. dollar bill with all the Illuminati symbolism. You know, a gang started by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. But anyway, here we are, right? This huge ritual in Kabul. And with regards to the Illuminati, Kabul established in 1776. The same year the Bavarian Illuminati was established, May 1st, 1776. The same year this nation was established. Interestingly enough, with these huge rituals happen in the Jesuit 21st century in the time of their Ignatian year. Look up the Jesuit Ignatian year. Something they declared this year. And it runs more than a year, which is interesting. Runs more than a year. And again, they declared it on the 500th anniversary of their founder, Ignatius of Loyola, being shot in the leg with what they call a cannon round, which I have learned is a double, pack round. So it hits that much harder and probably tears away that much more flesh and bone when it hits you. But, yeah, again, you guys, just at least 13 U.S. members. I mean, just the way they mock us. I mean, fucking A, you guys. USA! USA! Every time you chant that, you're pretty much chanting 13. U is the 21st letter. S is the 19th. A is the 1st, right? 21 plus 19 plus 1 is 41, which is the 13th prime number. Again, September 11th happened on a date with 41 numerology. You know, this day that shaped the USA, reshaped the USA, transformed the USA. September 11, 2001. Again, they blamed it on Al-Qaeda, which equals 41. From Saudi Arabia, which equals 41. Well, now this ISIS-K equals 41. And today's ritual is exactly 41 weeks after the Superior General's birthday of the Jesuits, who, again, for years we've been making the claim that is who, at the end of the day, is ultimately behind all these rituals. Again, the only way you can explain what's going on in terms of a new world order, the only thing organized enough and powerful enough in this world is the Catholic Church and the military order that serves it, the Jesuits, who claim to operate in 112 countries. Catholicism is 112. But anyway, it's just ritual day after day as we continue to just show how they all line up with the Pope and the Superior General, just day after day, and the repetitive use of the numbers. Remember, the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite are big in D.C. The 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the motto with the Jesuits, Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. And the Jesuit logo has the 32 sun rays, like America equals 32, like Scottish equals 32. 7/4/1776, a date with 32 numerology. But the Scottish Rite, on the top of their building in D.C., their headquarters, there's the unfinished pyramid with 13 layers of bricks, like the dollar bill. You see? I mean, just the symbolism is everywhere, and it's important to the secret societies because they're aware of this knowledge and they understand, that there's again, in their belief systems, which are Kabbalah-based. And think about how Kabul, however you want to say it, this place in Afghanistan, it sounds a lot like Cabal and Kabbalah. The practice of coding numbers into words comes from Kabbalah. Again, the Book of Formation, the Kabbalistic text says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. If you guys have not read my first book, Letters and Numbers, the first chapter is why there are 26 letters in the English alphabet, and it's about how man likes to play God with the number 26. And I talk about, it's not by accident that from September 11, 2001 to the day that we invaded Afghanistan was 26 days later. God equals 26. G's the 7th letter, O's the 15th, D's the 4th. God 26. When you use the alphabetic order and rules numerology and add up letter is 26. So is crusade. Papacy also has gematria of 26. That's, the Pope. And again, we're on a calendar that is named after a Pope. Just using the alphabetic order, Pope equals 52 like Earth. 52 weeks in the awkward year that we have with the different month counts of days and the leap years. But it all works out for this 52-week year in tribute to the Pope, who rules over earth in the Catholic worldview. That they're right. They want to rule over all others. They want to conquer all others. And they want people to submit to their leadership. And that's what this is, you guys. This is how their leadership looks. Controlling your news media, scaring you, changing overnight what we know about science and then getting everybody to just regurgitate that, I'm just following the science. And you're like, wow, so the science is what? Based on what way the wind's blowing out of Anthony Fauci's mouth for a week or two at a time before it blows the exact opposite way? This is what we're doing? We're just shifting with Anthony Fauci's words like this? Does this make any sense? How can this be the science? I thought science was rock solid. Again, that's what I mean. When I say my work is rock solid compared to any of this shit they call science in the mainstream, I can back that up. My points are proven every single day. Again, this ISIS-K, you guys, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, ISIS-K is 68. It's also 41. Again, like we were just talking about, the 13th prime, 41 weeks after the Superior General's birthday on the nose. But ISIS-K is 68, like terror is 68, and like CIA is 68. And again, we always talk about this. 1968 was a huge year. It's the year the Club of Rome was established, Catholic Church related. Catholicism is 68, like mathematics as well. Bible, a book of numbers. But remember, in 1968, World Trade Center construction began, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones, a secret society that's modeled in tribute to the Knights Templar who served the Catholic Church, the old military order, from when they got this knowledge after the Crusades, this whole Kabbalah thing that was brought back to the church in Europe. But Skull and Bones, Mr. Skull and Bones, graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones in 68, and from his birthday on July 6th to September 11th is 68 days. And again, his dad was the CIA director. He was the 11th CIA director who became vice president, then president. And then September 11th, 1990, while he was president, he gave the speech about the New World Order, a world freer of terrorism. And then 11 years to the day later, his son's president, and 9/11 happens in New York, the 11th state. Now, this happens in Kabul 11 days after the government fell on August 15th on the Jesuit birthday. And on August 15th, it was reported that their government fell in just 11 days. So 11. Now we got K, we got ISIS-K. K is the 11th letter, just using the alphabetic order. We got K in Kabul. 11 is when you use the alphabetic order and rules numerology, considered the most pure cipher. But again, you got to know all these ciphers because they use them all ritualistically. So, okay, 13 service members, right? Now, Joe Biden, this is the headline on CNN. Biden to attackers. Let's see if they've changed it. Biden to attackers. Hold on. Let's see if I'm going to refresh the screen and see if they've changed it. Biden, nope, it's the same thing. Biden to attackers. We will hunt you down and make you pay. CNN's knowing for changing their headlines, very frequently, but when there's something they really want you to see, they make sure it stays up there for a good chunk of the day. This has been up for hours now. And here's the thing about that phrase. Here, I'm going to copy and paste. Well, can I not highlight it? Shoot. I was just trying to copy and paste it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Technology. Okay, so I'm copying that. I'm always teaching what they code in the news. They code things in here, right? We will hunt you down and make you pay. This is Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's an old man. He's probably not hunting down too many people these days, but I do want to remind people about the fact that after he became senator-elect in 72, his wife and daughter died in a car crash right after that, by the numbers, synced up with the Pope and Superior General. Covered it before. It'll definitely be in the new short book, because we're making a big point about current events. And then Beau Biden died at age 46 in a big Jesuit ritual, 201 days before Pope Francis's birthday, like how his wife and daughter died on a street with 201 Gematria. And again, the Jesuit order is 201, and inauguration day is 20/1. And you know the rest of the 201 list with the Jesuits, huge Jesuit number. But it's obvious that Jesuit Joe, he's allowed, he might even hunted down his own family. Who knows? Imagine if it was that sick. Imagine if Joe Biden had to murder his wife and daughter, and then it just gets reported they died in a horrible car crash. Jesuit connection, control the police, control the government, report what you want on the news you control. Your world, your world, your rules. You treat everybody else, all the common folk, like criminals if they're any threat to your enterprise. So we live under, you guys, a big criminal corporation. Lies to us every day, keeps us in check. But anyway, we will hunt you down and make you pay. Check it out. You see the 137? Come on, man. That's a big number in D.C. Washington, D.C. is 137, right? Government is 137, right? Authority is 137. White House is 137, right? Big number. This is the man from the White House in Washington, D.C. We will hunt you down. Now, remember, 137 is the 33rd prime. And in D.C., it's a big Masonic city. It's known as the Masonic City. The Jesuits have been there longer than anyone. Hold on. Sweet lady's calling. I got to take a call real quick. My love, I'm doing a live stream. I'm about to start dinner. What's going on?
Okay. Well, then do it. It's okay. I was just calling to let you know I'm driving home.
Okay. Drive safe, love.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. All right. I thought she might have a big request and she wouldn't want to be on the live stream. And if I didn't pick up the phone, she was going to be annoyed. Anyway, so sometimes I don't answer sweet lady's phone calls, but I worry about her these days because she's driving for the first time on the freeway, and so far so good. Anyway, Masonry 33, Secrecy 33, Order 33, Federal 33, big number in D.C., okay? 137, the 33rd prime. Remember the story of Brian Sicknick? The police officer, Police 33, and then, what was it? They did something on the 33rd day of the year with him, and then there was something else with him on March, what was it? How did they do it? I forget. I got to go back and look. Oh, maybe it was July 13th, 13/7, but again, you guys, just the way they code this stuff. But going back to what was coded, do you see how it's also 142? Again, he's talking a message to the terrorists, right? Terrorist is 142. And the 9/11 attack, they say it lasted 102 minutes. That's an hour and 42 minutes. And remember, in Jewish gematria, Al-Qaeda is 102, and they simulated the 9/11 attack with Project Amalgam Virgo 102 days before September 11th, and Osama bin Laden's face is on the cover of that, supposedly the leader of Al-Qaeda from the powerful oil family. But just the other day, one of the top stories the other day out of Afghanistan was this person from San Diego who was trapped over there because of the whole thing with the Taliban. And I noticed that. I was like, yeah, of course they're coding something with 142 with all this going on. But now this is what these people do, you guys. And they code their stuff because, again, this is what they're into. They are Kabbalists. They believe this is the work of God. If they do it this way, it empowers their intentions. It's something about energy and vibration. It's Hermeticism, and it might ultimately work. I don't know how else to explain that everybody's under such mind control. It's like it might not work on some of us, which is why we see through it, but what's wrong with everybody else? Like how don't people see through the fact that Joe Biden's the president of the United States? He shouldn't even have been the Democratic nominee. He was the laughing stock for how senile and nonsensical he was, and just... remember it was him and Kamala who got into it at the first debate over busing, and that was the big moment, the biggest moment in all the debates. And then, they're the scripted duo for the scripted White House. I mean, and don't forget, you guys, President Biden, just in the most simple cipher, President Biden, 144, Jesuit order, 144, Kabul airport, right? Where this happened today. 144. And again, Biden, the election was simulated for him at Jesuit Georgetown on June 12th, 2020, 144 days before the election, that he would win narrowly and Trump would refuse to step down and say he was cheated, and then the rest of it that became the Capitol insurrection and a big Jesuit ritual. But again, just the way they do this stuff, you guys, the way they got this all planned out. We'll talk more about the airport. But again and again, the same numbers. Last year's big explosion story was in August, a hot month, on 8/4, Jesuit 84, in Beirut, where the last time we heard about Beirut and an explosion was the barracks bombing in Beirut. And then this time it happened on Barack's birthday. Man, it is something else. But okay, here, just to hit some quick points, because I got to get off and make Sweet Lady dinner here. This footage they're showing today of the bombing. Again, we've been bombing Afghanistan for 20 years. Russia was bombing it before that. They've experienced a lot of bombings, a lot of scenes like today. You haven't seen any of this type of footage in the time Russia was doing it, in the time the U.S. was doing it. You heard about it. They reported about it. You heard about the tragic bombings of the innocent civilians. It was reported actually quite often in the last 20 years. But you never got any footage. And now today they give you some footage that looks like it could be a little bit dated, and they say this is what happened from the bombing today. You know, that's treating your audience like they're fucking retarded. You know? Because an intelligent audience would say, wait a minute, man, we've been bombing the fuck out of this country, and we never had a huge news coverage like it was so bad that they were getting bombed because we were doing it. And they never showed us, they reported that some bad shit went on, man. I read a story about 100 people killed at a wedding of innocents, and it was a missed target. You know, that was something they reported in the mainstream. And, you know, it wasn't as important as the missing blonde girl that night, but they wanted to make sure it was out there, at least in a 20-second soundbite. You know, they had to spend the last 20 minutes, though, on why it was an orange alert day, but, you know, accidentally blowing up the people at the wedding. Quick soundbite, no biggie. Just keep sending us your tax dollars so we can keep, you know, doing these types of things. We're keeping you real safe over there. We fight them over there so you don't have to fight them over here. Meanwhile, we keep your borders wide open. Somehow, you know, the terrorists aren't sneaking in there every day, blowing up every last monument that looks like an 11. But in addition to that, here's a good one. Outside of the base ciphers. I always say if you're going to use outside of the base ciphers, the ones that are important, Jewish Gematria, the times 6 cipher, and English extended. I don't really ever talk about ciphers beyond these. It's once in a blue moon I'll bring up another cipher, but I mostly just stick to the base ciphers. But again, here's one of the ciphers that I'm routinely saying is important. Isis K equals 238, right? In this cipher, which is a tribute to Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsephy. And again, we didn't invent any of these ciphers. These were taken from other people that were already practicing this code, who are aware of this knowledge even before I was. It's just they weren't sharing about it and helping expose what's going on in the world based on this code. But here, August 26th, the day we're really hearing about Isis K, it's the 238th day of the year. And look at this up, the White House press briefing on August 23rd, given by Jen Psaki, who's big on there today talking about it. This came out of her mouth on August 23rd, 23/8, like 238, 3 days ago, before the 238th day of the year, where Isis K supposedly blows up the airport, right? And I've been saying for a while, I know there's something more to this number. I noticed Eye of Providence equals 238. All-Seeing Eye is 119, which is half of 238, and what's commonly used for the All-Seeing Eye is the Eye of Providence. So I'm thinking about September 11th, 11/9. I'm thinking about this 238 thing, this being an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, which is blamed for 9/11, which got us in Afghanistan, and we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary. But look at this. Out of her mouth, this is on August 23rd, 3 days ago. Remember, when you write out 3, it equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like the 3 Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. In chronological order, it's Judaism, Christianity, Islam. That's the order that the Abrahamic religions came in, that are all based out of the Torah, which begins with Abraham. Well, he's at the beginning. As we conduct these operations, we are sustaining the highest level of vigilance for an attack against the airport by Isis K or another terrorist group. Okay? That's what she said, right? So the White House was ready for this on 23/8 about Isis K, whose name also equals CIA, and then it just happens to hit on the 238th day of the year, not to mention the day leaving 127 days left in the year, like how on 9/11 in New York, buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell, and they called the site Ground Zero, which equals 127, and they called it the new Pearl Harbor, reminding that Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, 127. You see? Again, this stuff's beyond coincidence. Did you guys see at the Virginia University? Here, I'm going to go off. I'm going to go off topic for a second. Well, because it's related to the 238, 119. I'm going to go scroll back to where I posted this on Twitter. Let me see. Right here. Okay, university disenrolls 238 students over vaccine mandate. So this story, when did I post this? This is from August 20th, okay? This is 6 days ago now. But the story is at University of Virginia, right? University of Virginia. So I already kind of had this theory in my mind that maybe this is where 238 fit in, is that it was actually connected to Eye of Providence and the all-seeing eye, which is on the dollar bill, right? Everything comes back to dollars and cents, from the vaccine to these wars to why we're enslaved and lied to, because there's a ruling class. That's what Americans need to put your fucking flag away and see what's going on in this country. We are enslaved, you guys. We are ruled over, and we live in their system, and they put us in their slave fucking school and teach us a whole bunch of bullshit that sounds like bullshit, and they expect us to not even question it. Christopher Columbus discovered the land where the native people were. They were heathens, though, because they didn't have Bibles. And Christopher Columbus was paid for by the Catholic Church. And he was Jewish, like the Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish, like the Supreme Court is Catholic and Jewish, like the Jesuits are Catholic, and the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which is in D.C., which shares the motto with them at the 32nd degree, again, ad merum de gloriam, they are known as the most Jewish branch of Freemasonry. And again, I'm not saying that we need to go to war with Catholic people and Jewish people, not at all. There's good Catholic people. There's good Jewish people. I think they should all drop their religion bullshit. I wish they would. But what I'm saying is there's entities in these religions that are bad apples. And they give everyone a bad name. And they're doing things and justifying it based in their belief systems, that they're superior, that they're in the right. God favors their undertaking, like they have etched on our dollar bill in Latin, the language of Rome. But you see how University of Virginia is 119 in the most pure cipher? All-seeing eye is 119 in the most simple cipher. It's also 56, like is coded everywhere. There's so many. I can talk about all the numbers up there for all-seeing eye. 205's all over the UK, and they got every fucking British guy off the island on CNN today to tell me why we need to go think whatever about Afghanistan. It's like, am I supposed to be more susceptible to this bullshit if all these guys have British fucking accents? What is going on? But all-seeing eye, you guys, one night, and don't forget, it's coded on Vatican, and they got the giant statue of the pine cone at the Vatican, and they say the mind's eye, the all-seeing eye of the mind, looks like a pine cone. Francis, the first Jesuit pope's got the 119. But again, all-seeing eye 119, Eye of Providence got the 238. And the Eye of Providence is known as one of the most famous symbols in the world. You see how it's 86? Look at symbol. Symbol is 86, right? The word citizen is 86. We're citizens in this republic, 86, right? And we're ruled over by symbols. And essentially these numbers are used as symbols as well. When I first started this work, that's what I understood 86 as, was this number used ritualistically, symbolically. And the thing that I caught was just how the Eye of Providence, everybody knows that's one of the most famous symbols in the world. But I was like, wow, it's 8. Because when I first started, you guys, I didn't know these reverse ciphers. I only knew these two ciphers. So notice, again, in the most simple, symbol, triangle, pyramid, they're all 86. You think about the dollar bill, the symbol, the triangular pyramid, right? And again, it's the Eye of Providence above it. But then you run the alphabetic order in reverse, and that's where you realize it's important too. It's like, okay, that's 238. And now we got this big ritual on the 238th day. People that commanded the attention of the world. Michael Jordan got the 238 in his name. And Kobe Bryant's birthday is 23/8. You see how Michael Jordan's 113? Look at Kobe Bryant, 113. 41, dead at age 41, 157, dead 157 days after his birthday. I can tell you about all those numbers. I did it in a book, done it a million times on videos. But going back to Michael Jordan, 59 in the most pure cipher. This year on his birthday, both of his teams became 5-9 at home. One of them paid out a lot. Wizards became 5-9 at home. Bulls became 5-9 at home. But you see the 59-76? Look at slave, 59-76. Look at Negro. Look at blues. Maybe it's not as glorious as we think to be Michael Jordan. Everybody wants to be like Mike in the 90s. Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox. Probably 5 more Mikes I'm forgetting. Everybody was Michael. And speaking of Michael, you guys, special numbers. Michael 33, name 33, NBA Finals 33. His dad died in a big 33 ritual. I think after he won his 3rd championship, if I remember right. Got to go back and double check that, but Yeah. Again, being part of this Jesuit network, you might have to lose your wife and daughter. And by the way, you guys, that happened in 72. I'm telling you, President Biden, 72. He lost his wife and daughter in 72 after he became senator-elect. President Biden, 72. And, Jesuit Order 72, another big number with them, created on the 72 date numerology. But, oh, yeah, the other part of that is he was in D.C. for 47 years. For 47 years he was in D.C. before becoming president-elect. You see? It all started in 72, took office in 73, the election in 2020, 47 years later. He was the 47th vice president to Obama, and Obama took office at age 47. President's 47. White House is also 47. Before you're talking about the 52s, the 137. That's why you got to see all the ciphers. You see how it really all comes together and you pay attention. White House 133, government 133. Again, there's a reason to all this, but these base ciphers are their system. It's clear as day. And also there's this new trend in the comments to write it's either Zach Hubbard or Zachary Hubbard equals the base ciphers. It's like, okay, so what? I mean, those of you guys who leave those comments and then share those comments, you guys are the people that make Gematria look dumb. Truly. It's like, why is that what you want to share in light of all of the things you can share? That's what people are looking for, like, oh, so you can line anything up and make anything line up. That's not how it is. Do I do rituals by the numbers of Zachary Hubbard and the base ciphers? You guys leave that and then write see, how do you explain this? It's like, okay, you can't see how that is coincidental in what I'm showing, doing all the rituals 144 days, Jesuit Trump at the Vatican on the 144th day of the year. You can't see the consistent patterns. The Jesuit logo over 10 Downing Street 144 years after the Jesuit order was established. You can't see the difference between these things and finding a random connection to somebody and going, see, that looks like you're an agent now. It's like, I mean, are these real comments? The problem is I'm seeing people leave this comment who I think are halfway decent posters. And I'm like, God, even some retards are following Gematria, but it's just, people are so dumb, man. And that's why we are where we are. That's why they get away with the shit every day. And again, here's Arturo Sosa, 41 weeks after his birthday, ISIS K. 9/11 on the 41 date numerology, blamed on Al-Qaeda, Saudi Arabia, USA 41, 13th prime, 13 soldiers dead, 13 stripes on the flag around the caskets they'll come home in. And, again, the airport that was bombed today, it's named after the puppet president we put in after we invaded Afghanistan, Hamid Karzai. It's called Hamid Karzai International Airport. And look at this. I always teach about 35 on Thursday. From his Christmas Eve birthday to the bombing today is exactly 35 weeks. Catholic is 35 like Thursday. Named after Jupiter. Rambo's been doing all the great work in recent years on the Catholics and Thursday and Jupiter and the rituals. But Thursday and Catholic, 3546, we're in the type of number 46, who's now being blamed by the right in the Jesuit divisive scheme that is politics, for the fall of Afghanistan, 46. And again, remember, all these nations were carved up and named after the world wars, which have all been instigated by this same Jesuit Catholic cabal as they break down communities and traditions and cultures so that they can come into the weekend thing and infuse theirs. It's what they do worldwide. It's what they've been doing. It's how they got to be as big and powerful as they are. They're sick, clever fuckers is what they are. But again, you guys, JFK, number 35, killed at age 46. Joe Biden, number 46, the second Catholic president, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Again, these numbers aren't a mistake. Hamid Karzai International Airport, 350, and then 199, the 46th prime in the base ciphers. His name, just like Society of Jesus, like ISIS. Again, he's 63 years old. Terrorism, 63 and 54, like Kabul Airport and Jesuit Order 54. It's just, They've set the world like a chessboard, you guys. It's so obvious. How come every world leader that's in a key position right now, again, it was just Agent 56 that stepped down in Afghanistan. We just covered this on August 15th on the Jesuit birthday. His name was 56, on the Jesuit birthday. Now it's 11 days later, after the government fell on the Jesuit birthdays after just 11 days of the Taliban charge. So again, K, the 11th letter, the master number in numerology. The 11th CIA director, George H.W. Bush, who became vice president and president, who gave the speech 11 years to the day of 9/11, whose son became the president during the time of 9/11, who again graduated from Skull and Bones in 68, the same year 911 became the national emergency dialing code and World Trade Center construction began. You know what else is funny about 68? It was the 47th day of the year, right? It was the 47th day of the year, February 16th, that the first 911 call was made. Look it up. It's all facts. February 16th, 1968, the first ever 911 call. That's the 47th day of the year. Remember, 9/11 was blamed on Osama bin Laden. You see how Kabul's got the 47? Osama bin Laden's got the 47. Building 7 was 47 floors tall. And remember, it's just the number. Government 47, authority 47, Christian 47, Vatican 47, this nation's birthday, the 4th day of the 7th month, the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass on the Scottish Rite out of France, a nation that equals 47, where the Jesuits were created and where the Scottish Rite came to power, where so many of the founders studied, people like who were the 56 signers on the Declaration of Independence, where Society of Jesus is 56 and 187, like Paris, France is 56 and 187, like Washington, D.C. is. You see? So, I'm telling you, they've had this nation from the beginning. That's why in slave school, they teach us the truth, that we were trying to get away from the Catholic Church, and they make it seem like we got away from the UK, which is controlled by the Catholic Church. And that's the part that's not true. We didn't get away. We've been living in their system ever since, with this illusion that we're free and independent and sovereign and brave and courageous. And just take a look around. Everyone's scared of what was always described as typical sickness year in and year out, that always the elderly and least healthy were most susceptible to, but now the news puts up a death count for, the total combined deaths of flu, pneumonia, cold, car accident where the autopsy said they had COVID and everything else. And then, they got people right where they want them that easy. They're that brave. They're so brave that they can't see through how the con men on TV who've been con men their whole lifetimes are bullshitting them, You guys, I say it all the time. It's the land of the enslaved and cowardly, and seemingly unknowing about it. They're under this illusion that they live in Oppositeville. So, and everyone really should read my book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus. If you can't afford the paperback version, which runs around $20, most retailers sell it. And people are like, "Oh, it's extra shill, he's published." No, I'm not published, you guys. This is called self-publishing. You pay these companies this money, and they make all this happen for you, and you have to trust them on the numbers of your book sales. But it's the way to get something out there and put it on a place where, people will buy it. I had to pay, Book Baby to get all the books printed and for them to do the work, a lot of money, Yeah, it's just, I really did think that the book, it is a real book, you guys. It's right here. For people who don't know, it's a real book. You read this book, you understand who's running the show and how they're doing it, and you see the number patterns, and you see how they play out every single day. Everything I talked about in this video is in the book and more. And also, I just want everyone to see this too. Just the total mockery, you guys. So, the latest news, as of Monday, more than 201 million Americans have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine, with over 171 million fully vaccinated. Okay, so that's a difference of 30 million in vaccines, 30, right? But 201, right? Event 201 was the coronavirus pandemic simulation put on by all the parties who are now benefiting 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. Event 201. And this was reported at the same time that the Pfizer vaccine is Monday, August 23rd, another 238 date. is the day that the vaccine was approved for Pfizer, right? So if you read this story, what was going along with this story on the same day that they reported this 201 million. Remember, the Jesuit Order is 201. William Henry Gates 201. That's Bill Gates' full name, one of the main sponsors of Event 201. The Jesuit pawn and puppet who just got divorced by the numbers from the Jesuit, family spawn, Melinda Gates, who has the Jesuit birthday August 15th, where last year the Jesuit Trump, his brother died on August 15th. But anyway, this study where they're saying unvaccinated people 29 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID, they say it comes out of a small group in Los Angeles, right? It's funny because Los Angeles equals 109, which is the 29th prime number. And the most simple site for Los Angeles is 109. And these prime number patterns happen all the time. For any of you guys who've seen that popular series, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, in the latest film, they're trying to break the password of this guy that's good with the computers, and the child finally tells him how he does his password. He says he changes letters to numbers and uses prime number relationships. Los Angeles 109, the 29th prime. And you know who cited that study? Biden in his speech, where he said that in the last month, he said 70% less people died and 56% were more vaccinated. And in all year, coronavirus, 5670. COVID vaccine, 5670. Again, Kamala got the vaccine 56 days after her birthday on a 70 date, numerology, and a million more. COVID vaccine 214 on the 214th day of the year was the day it was reported that we hit the 70% milestone. You see how they do this? Every day. Every day. And then they not only do that, they do that to you every day. They do this all the time too. I mean, how do you interpret this headline from CNN this morning? COVID hospitalizations are worse than last August before vaccines were available. Okay, so the same news that's giving me this story is also, when I watch them, they're telling me that more people need to mandate the vaccine. Everyone needs to go out and get the vaccine. It's their responsibility. They got their prime anchor, Anderson Cooper, 360, belittling people who haven't gotten the vaccine, saying that we're not adults. Anderson Cooper said, someone like me is not an adult because I can't make the adult decision to go out and get the vaccine, which is the obvious no-brainer thing to do. And when he says shit like that, I'm like, see, this guy's a sick, trained Vanderbilt CIA fuck. Going out and getting the vaccine is a no-brainer thing to do. And he says it in a snide way, right? I wish I could rewind back to 2004, the year of the presidential campaign. I was at Arizona State University, and for a whole week, all the cable news networks are right there on our campus. You could see them all. All the news anchors are right there on the campus. Their little booths set up, all the stuff around them, all the sound equipment. And Anderson Cooper, he was there each day. And I thought he looked so weird in person. I was like, man, he looks a lot better on camera. His skin, there's something wrong with his skin, man. And that's he's got to look much worse now. I was blown away because I thought he was relatively young for a news person back then. This is 2004, 17 years ago. But God, in person, I mean, it looked like he was shedding to me, the whole arguing reptilian stuff, it's interesting. But that's not gonna get you anywhere. David Icke's whole thing about reptilians, anything's possible. Again, the serpent in the Bible, you just never know. But God, if I ever think that's true, it's from what I saw with Anderson Cooper with my own eyes. His skin reminded me of a snake. There was something wrong with it, man. I saw him up close multiple times in person. So these people, man, they've been lying to us for 20 straight years. Getting away with it, getting paid, getting off on it, man. And then I hate watching Anderson Cooper ridicule people like me, man. It's just like, you guys, we got to fill up their news studio. If I could be in the room with Anderson Cooper, I wouldn't kill him or hurt him. I would just put him on the spot and challenge him with the stuff I know. How you going to... I just cut him off, talk over him in his little puny voice, take away his microphone. He's a very small guy, too. He looks like a small little gardener snake's what he looks like. But, and I say that as not the biggest person. I'm 5'10". Back then, I probably weighed 165, 170. But, I mean, he's really small. Little petite thing. So, anyway, I got to make Sweet Lady dinner. I'm running behind schedule. Don't want to make Sweet Lady hungry. And, Even as bad as things get, always take care of your sweet lady. Take care of your significant other. That goes for the ladies too. Take care of your man. If you're cheating on your man, if you're cheating on your lady, get out of the relationship. Stop being dishonest to your partner. You know what I mean? I don't know why so many people do that, especially if you're not married. It's like, why? If you want to be with somebody else, go be with somebody else. Don't be, some things are definitely important. Some morals are definitely important. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Till next time.